This guy's greatest weapon is art.
Just when rock and roll seems like it's done all that it can do, every so often it will create the media's worst nightmare and throw the whole world off balance. No one has captured the media's disgust quite like one of rock and roll's most controversial inventions. When a skinny kid from Ohio remade himself in the image of America's blonde bombshell crossed with one of America's most notorious and deranged monsters. When this happened, a new rock icon emerged and became one of the most feared men in all of rock and roll history.
Run for your lives, America. Here's Marilyn Manson.
But there's been some huge news in Manson world. He released a teaser for his new music videos. I loved all of the images and metaphors about rebirth. Like I was really reminded of Hellraiser, the movie Hellraiser, with some of the images of a half-formed body coming to life, and it's very Frankensteinian as well.
The thing about that is watching that video reminds me how I felt in the lead up to Hollywood, because it's very there's something kind of similar. Not saying he's rehashing things, but there's the oxygen mask that he's got. I don't know if you saw.
I love the oxygen mask. I love it. So I saw Rolling Stone or someone called it a perfume bottle, and I was thinking, did you totally miss like what was going on there?
I mean, it's a very nice oxygen mask, but he wears one in the Nobody's music video briefly, where his character has got his hand on like a jar. I'm not wearing like a dome, and I'm not sure what's in that dome, but it's like a tree or something. And then in that same album, Hollywood, which the Nobodies is also on, there's a line in the Fight song, which is like one of my favorite songs from him, where he says something about isolation is the oxygen mask you make your children breathe into to survive. So like there's a reoccurring theme with the oxygen mask. So there's like a personal aspect, I think, to it, but also this kind of throwback to Hollywood. And the reason why it's important to me in terms of Hollywood is because Hollywood was his reemergence after the Columbine tragedy, right?
That's right.
So this is his reemergence after the Me Too tragedy, right?
Right.
And,
right.
He seems to be referencing the Hollywood to some degree, and also Antichrist Superstar. It seems like it's in my mind. I'm like, this is like a sequel to Hollywood, although I'm sure it's not in his mind. But as a fan, it feels that way because this is him for the first time coming out with an art to I think address to some degree, and however he will, what went down. And I don't think he's going to say, this is how I feel about Me Too. I think he's probably got some, poetic score to his like revenge. This guy's greatest weapon is art, right? Like, so he can put out something, and we can have different interpretations of it. Everyone. That's what good art is. We all see
exactly,
right? Like I see your Hellraiser reference for sure. Then I see that thing he's got on, that white kind of like it looks like a tourniquet. So it makes me think of this tourniquet, right? And then from Superstar. But other people are seeing other things. Obviously, the death and rebirth thing, the apples there. That's a symbol we see Manson with quite a bit. Also, he loves to reference the Bible. So we're seeing sin, death, rebirth, that kind of thing, which is awesome. I love that.
Speaking of the apple, I'm curious, is that kind of a reference to the idea of the satanic hero? Is that sort of him identifying as someone who's like tempting humanity or offering an alternative to an authoritarian god, in the Miltonian sense?
Well, this is, again, we could look at this in the Cubist sense from every angle. It could be him saying, this is the original sin, this is the fall of man, something he's kind of discussed, I think, in other songs. It could be him saying, I'm the serpent from the garden, It could be him saying, like, this is knowledge, like what happens when Eve bit into the apple. Anyway, I bet there's people that don't like him that will see the different things, that make him look like a monster. But that it could be anything, and that's why I love it, because we can all walk away with different interpretations.
And you can really see when you look at all of his videos that I've seen, but in particularly this one, you really can see the intentional layering of like lots of different meaningful images and themes, something that makes you feel a lot of different things. I feel like some of the greatest works of art are the ones that contain within them a real ambivalence, and so you can feel even oppositional things. It's one of the things that I love actually about Apocalypse Now.
Filmed in certain ways that reminds me of Superstar, the way it's out of focus and then goes into focus. It's a very like Manson music video thing.
One of his signatures.
It's like there's a nostalgia thing to it, but it seems like something fresh. And then the song, the part of the song in general, sounds epic.
So I was wondering, well, am I going to like this, or is it going to be something that's kind of niche and only the fans are going to like, or whatever? But what I heard so far, I mean, it's like an anthem. It's very much anthem-like and powerful, and so I think it sounds great. I wanted to also bring up the fact that he apparently got signed by a major label, Nuclear Blast Records, and I was kind of surprised by that because I thought he was going to have to self-publish. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because everybody's doing it now. Tim's doing it, right? Yep. And you are. Don't you have music coming out too?
Yeah. I got some songs coming out, and I've self-published 3 of my own books. So yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's great, but I mean, it's also there's pros and cons that come with working with a major label or publisher, because depending on the deal you have, they take a cut. Obviously, some of them might have control over when it's released, what it looks like. I highly doubt that's probably the case with Manson in terms of art direction, because he's so particular with his details. But I like Nuclear Blast. Like, I'm a huge metal nerd, and they have had the biggest names. Like, I think they've had Slayer, Slipknot, AC/DC, Alice Cooper, who's I don't know, but him and Manson were close, and kind of similar in their own way. So it's an amazing label to be on. I think that to me that's like extremely promising.
To me, it is a great sign that there are apparently some executives at these companies, and Live Nation too. I mean, we haven't talked about this yet, but he's going on tour, and not only is he going on tour in a supporting role, I mean a major supporting role, but with Five Finger Death Punch, but also he's got 3 headliner shows lined up so far. And I think it's really encouraging that there are apparently some executives at these companies who are not scared shitless of the woke crowd, right?
I think Manson coming back, and I think it's going to be very successful. I think this is going to be a huge blow to that whole world of character assassination, and it's like I obviously support Manson as a fan, but I support this whole like comeback from years of silence, and it's been a while since we heard music from him, because it's symbolic to the idea that, like, you can't just exile us out of society. I'm innocent, and because even though you've dragged my name through all the dirt and you've sued me and I've had to take you to court, I'm coming back. I'm doing what I love, and not every person who goes through these, is fed through the machine of Me Too or whatever controversy you find yourself in, comes back. And he, like, that little clip, the visuals, everything looks like he's back in form. Like, where he's like the guy who's like, I've got something really important to say, and it's going to be, it's going to be interesting, and people are going to love it and hate it, which is great.
He does not. I agree with you. He's in top form, and he does not look like someone who is limping back to just to get back to where he was a few years ago. Like, I think what I get from him and from what I'm seeing is that this is someone who is really coming back with a sort of a newfound zeal for his art and life. And I know that he's been sober now for several years. People talk about that a lot. And I hear he's happy. I hear he's doing well. Yeah. And of course, he has truth on his side. And so even though he's been through a lot of shit with all of these false Me Too allegations and this character assassination campaign, at the same time, like, he knows that he's innocent, and he has people around him, apparently, and even music executives in the industry who apparently believe he's innocent too. I mean, it's not like I was saying this the other day on my show. It's not like these people now that are associating with Manson and that are backing him. It's not like they're getting into this with their eyes closed, naive about what problems this might bring in terms of negative PR coverage and pressure, political pressure, stuff like that. So the fact that they're doing it, I think it shows that they're really strongly behind him, right?
Yeah, I definitely, and I think I I think this record is going to do well. I think it's going to be really interesting, and when that happens, it will be cool to see his art dominate the conversation, and then all the controversy the last few years kind of become a smaller part on the Wikipedia page that doesn't dominate the conversation anymore. Because now it's like you bring up Manson, all you hear about is the Me Too shit. Years ago, if you brought up Manson, all you heard about was Columbine, and obviously those things will never go away. You can't rid yourself of the controversy. Yeah, but the art will dominate, just like and not for everybody, because there's some people don't pay attention like we do. My mom might only know about Columbine when it comes to Manson, and Evan Rachel would. That sucks, but that's how it is. But for the fans and people who listen to music and are interested in hearing new songs, the art should be the thing that takes the center stage, and then everything else falls away. Like, think of, and I'm not comparing these two because I think Picasso is an actual kind of bad dude, but like no one really thinks about all of the crazy stuff Picasso did. Like, he was not a good person, and his art lives on, and people will think of the art. But that's why I love art so much. That's why I got a Moreau. Here, like, I love art, and I love that you don't have to love these people or agree with everything they do, but I'm interested in what these people have to say, especially at these levels, especially after they go through such controversies where it seems like it's the end of the world for these people.
Manson now has another very interesting, very modern, very relevant aspect of his story now. And so, whereas before, I think a lot of people had the attitude of like, oh, okay, yeah, like he was culturally important in the 90s and the early 2000s, but that's been a long time. And well, I mean, not anymore, right? Now he's having lots of articles written about him. There is going to be that Channel 4 documentary that's probably going to be a hit job, but that's going to be coming out, 3-part documentary about him. And so there's definitely going to be renewed interest. And so in the end, it really might be that even though he's been through hell, a long, hard road out of hell, like his song says, that really he'll be in a better place in a lot of ways than he would have been if this had never happened.
I also think the other thing, because I could be wrong about this, is like his comeback is a revenge album, and that might be part of it, but there's also this other aspect where he also seems madly in love. And I don't think being like a Manson in love record. I mean, they'll say "Eat Me, Drink Me," but that was more, in my opinion, a lust record. Didn't he announce this new nuclear blast deal on his anniversary? Right? And his posting images a lot of him with the flowers. So I think that might have a part of this too, because there's almost like a Shakespeare aspect too.
No, it's very romantic, and the wedding ring is prominent in a number of those shots in the music video teaser. And you see him if you follow him on Instagram. He's posting his wife, Lindsay Usick, a photographer. He's posting her work a lot and celebrating her. No, it's very clear that in his romantic disposition or his romantic life is undergone a real sort of elevation here, perhaps because of, and who knows, again, perhaps partly because of what he's been through, because I have to think that when you are a famous, wealthy person, and that you always kind of wonder, well, if all of this went away, would this person still love me? Would this person still be here? And he's got the answer to that question. A lot of people don't, but he's gotten the answer to it.
And there's like something about the black, almost looks like Hellraiser, but it also, to me, looked like a knight, because there's a sword for like a split beginning, which is why I'm thinking revenge or someone going to slay, But
yes, and Lindsay, actually, his wife, Lindsay, she posted a little note a couple days ago advertising that something big was coming, and there was a sign, again, a symbol emoji of 2 swords. And I think that I think they're definitely, as Manson comes back, he may not sit down and do the interview that I was hoping he would do of like set everybody straight and like pouncing back on the scene, but I think that there is within him a kind of a righteous anger about what has been done to him and about the lies that have been told. And a lot of people also noted the fact that on his birthday, his most recent birthday, his birthday cake had this famous work of art. It was an angel thrown out of heaven, right? Or was it Satan thrown out of heaven? Beelzebub? I don't know, but it was an angel thrown out of heaven with angry, angry eyes, right? And so there is really this theme of reemergence, but also of like fighting. We're coming back.
Which all those things are slight little nods to the fans who know about the myth of mechanical animals and the alien or the fallen angel who comes to Earth, you know, kind of like Stardust with Bowie.
Are you surprised that in the wake of Me Too, because we're still not very far from Me Too, and it's still being used as a cudgel in society and by the media, are you surprised that Manson is able to have this kind of a comeback, that he has signed with a record label, he is being sponsored by Live Nation, he's being insured, he's got bands pairing up with him?
I'm not surprised, but I'm also numb to that world of character assassination.
I think we're all numb. Maybe that's why.
maybe that's why. But like, I've also seen other people that I do admire who are artists, you know, come back, and they've come back. But I think of Louis C.K. and in my opinion, he kind of stumbled back, although he did some good stuff. But he had to find his way because he was one of those first in this.
He was
to go through it, and like it's like, wow, that guy was really on top of the comedy world. Got a great TV show, you know, was killing it, filling stadiums, and then they just wiped it all out. And he built it back, and he went the other route, right? He went like, I got to be independent. I got my website. I'm selling to you directly. I'll email you directly. Whereas now Manson is the evolution of this. I hate even saying comeback because to me they didn't go away. They were like exiled. And Manson is, to best of my knowledge, one of the first to come back and have like an institution behind you, like a label. And to me, Nuclear Blast is a great, a great institution to back you because they care and they've had a great roster, have a great roster now. So it's, yeah, I don't think I'm surprised. I think everyone's probably just really sick of it. And like you said earlier, there's execs at these companies who are like, we're done and we want to support someone, and we heard these songs and he's got something to say and it's amazing and the world should hear it, so we want to blast it out there.
I just want to mention that the actress Paz de la Huerta, she was on Boardwalk Empire as a major character. She was in the Gaspar Noé film Enter the Void and some other stuff. Major actress. And there had been accusations that Manson had assaulted her on the set of a photo shoot. And she came out just recently and said that was BS, and that there were people behind the scenes who were trying to make her say that Manson assaulted her, and he absolutely didn't. In fact, she said he was a good friend of hers, and he had always treated her gentlemanly, and that and so it's basically not only refuting these allegations, but pointing out that, in fact, yes, there is a cabal of women who are trying to recruit other women to go against Manson.
There's going to be a lot of people who see that there's no more success in this like Me Too economy, and they're going to retract. Like, that's brave, It's not the first. I mean, there was another woman who did retract, though, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
So more of that needs to happen, and I think it will, as they see there's no, which is unfortunate that this is even a thing we have to consider. But there are people who see Me Too as a success, and we got to take it away. That currency of victimhood, but they'll hopefully no longer do it and either retract or just stop making false accusations.
I hope so. I hope that's a change that we're seeing right now. So anyway, but thank you so much for joining me, Shane. And we'll have to, next time there's a big development in Manson Worlds, or when he starts touring, we'll have to talk again. But everybody check out Shane's new program linked below, The Inverted Worlds. And also you can find him on Timcast quite often, and he's written a bunch of books and just all kinds of things.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. See you later. Bye-bye.